Alright, so you saw the silhouette. I cannot believe they added the Gore Magala to Monster Hunter Wilds. It is my absolute favorite monster, so we're going to be converting that into a terrifying D&D creature. Just like we did the Raidal, instead of going over this creature, we're going to just be doing this step by step. We'll go over a conversion we do, and we'll have something playing in the background that shows current conversion we're going over. So let's do it. Let's turn the Gore Magala into a D&D 5e creature. So the Gore Magala is a huge dragon that is chaotic evil. Armor class of 19, hit point average of 247, or a roll of 26 d12 plus 78, speed of 50, climb speed of 35 feet, and fly speed of 80 feet. Strength of 24, dex of 18, constitution of 17, intelligence of 12, wisdom of 14, and charisma of 8. Has saving throw proficiencies and dex of plus 9, constitution of plus 8, and wisdom of plus 7, with skills and perception of plus 7 and stealth plus 9. It has damage resistances to necrotic, poison, and thunder, with immunities and damages to psychic. It has condition immunities to blinded, charmed, frightened, and poisoned. Its senses are blind sight of 120 feet, it's blind beyond that radius, and a dark vision of 120 feet paired with a passive perception of 17. Its languages are Abyssal, Common, and Draconic at a challenge level of 15. First up is Legendary Resistance. It activates 3 times a day. If the Gore Magala fails a saving throw, it can choose to succeed instead. Shadow Affliction. When a creature starts its turn within 30 feet of the Gore Magala, or take any single instance of damage from it, that creature must succeed a difficulty class 18 Constitution saving throw, or gain 1 stack of Frenzy Virus. You lose 1 stack of Frenzy Virus when the run begins. When a creature reaches 5 or more stacks of Frenzy Virus, they lose all stacks and gain the Frenzy Virus condition, which does the following. An afflicted creature's attacks deal an additional 1d8 necrotic damage. Also takes 5d8 plus their level of necrotic damage at the start of each of their turns. All attacks from the Gore Magala deal double damage to you. Frenzy Virus will stay on this creature until they pass a difficulty class 20 Constitution save that happens on the start of your turn, in which upon success you will lose the Frenzy Virus condition and become immune to it and its associated stacks for 24 hours. What does all that gibberish mean? First of all, this is mimicking the frenzy status effect that the Gore Magala inflicts on you in the game, and how it slowly builds up over the fight, and how you either need to decide to fight it off or just kind of live with it. Like in the game, it increases your damage when you have it, but it is definitely going to increase the damage you take back from the Gore Magala. It also mimics the slow health degeneration you get over time with it by removing HP that you have every single turn you start with it. To mimic the buildup, we have the Frenzy Virus counters that will go ahead and inflict the Frenzy Virus status when it reaches 5 or more. You get these stacks by standing within 30 feet of the creature or getting hit by other various effects it has as well, which we're going to go over. Blind Sight Predator. The Gore Magala ignores the effects of magical darkness and can see through illusions and invisibility within 120 feet. Severable Tail. We went over this one from the Raidal. It's a copy paste from it. If you want to have the fine details, you can either read it or you can watch the Raidal video. The only difference here is it's 140 hit points rather than what we had last time from the Raidal. Also, for the Gore Magala, it doesn't have any of its moves affected when you sever the tail. Frenzied Aggression is the last ability it has. After taking damage from any of the Gore Magala's legendary actions, you must make a difficulty check 15 Constitution save. If you fail it, you become stunned. This mimics the fact that if you get hit by the Gore Magala or any large monster in Monster Hunter in general, you do get stunned and you're sitting duck. Just a reminder, if you're not subscribed and you want to know when the next videos come out, feel free to like and subscribe to our channel as we do free D&D resources, and you'll be the first to know when the new ones drop. Thank you. Actions. Starting with multi-attack. The Gore Magala makes 2 attacks of any combination of Shadow Breath followed by Frenzy Blasts or Frenzied Scoop. Let's go over those 3 actions. Shadow Breath has a recharge of 2. The Gore Magala exhales a wave of corrupting shadow in a 60-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a difficulty class 18 Constitution saving throw, taking 12d8 necrotic damage on a failed save or half as much on a success. Creatures that fail a saving throw gain a stack of Frenzy Virus. All tiles touched by this attack turn into Frenzy tiles. Creatures who begin their turn on a Frenzy tile gain 1 stack of Frenzy Virus. First things first, let's go ahead and clarify that that move is a guaranteed hit. No matter what, if you're hit by that cone, that will go through, no hit dice required. Secondly, let's go ahead and see what a 60-foot cone looks like. I'll draw it from the Gore Magala here, and right about here. It's a little over, but that's just about it. Yeah, 60-foot cone's a pretty fat cone, and all these tiles you see here turn into those frenzy tiles. So DMs, when you're using this creature, keep track of those frenzy tiles by going ahead and highlighting them, because they will become important later for a certain reaction this monster has. However, in the meantime, let's go ahead and do a damage test. We're going to assume everything hits as usual. This is a 12d8 necrotic damage, hitting for a whopping 48, and if you're under the effects of the Frenzy Virus condition, it's doubled. Frenzy Blast is next. It's a ranged spell attack with a +9 to hit. It has a minimal working range of 50 feet, with 55 to 120 being at disadvantage, and anything over 120 being a fail. 3 blasts that target 1 creature each for 5d8 plus 4 necrotic damage per projectile hit. Fire 3 balls of shadow from your mouth, each making an arcing boomerang-like path to its intended target, and will hit others and expire if they are in that path. As projectiles travel, they turn all tiles they travel across into frenzy tiles. Let's spread our targets out a little bit. We're going to move back to our selection tool and move our characters out so we can better understand how that range works. Now, when calculating the range for this, it's still a straight line of sight despite that boomerang arc. We'll go over that in a second, but we'll bring this guy a little closer so we're in that 50-foot range here for this. I'm going to draw myself a little ball here like this so I can demonstrate how the projectile works. So instead of the projectile, how like any normal projectile would like float forward, kind of like that, the frenzied blasts, which are 3 of them, you're going to select your target. This is at 50 feet, but instead you're going to arc it. So it's going to move like this to your target. And do note, if someone, for example, let's say this archer here is like here, and your ball goes ahead and arcs itself. Where's my selection tool for drawing selection tool? Alright, and arcs itself like this. Even though your intended target was that mage in the back, it's going to hit this guy instead and expire. We'll simulate damage with a 5d8 plus 4. 24, and there's 3 of those that come in total, and they don't have to be different targets. You can literally aim all 3 at the same target if you would like. Frenzied Scoop. Melee weapon attack with a +12 to hit. Reach of 40 feet. 1 target. It deals 10d6 plus 7 bludgeoning damage. Can only be used while flying. Barrel down towards your target, using the claws on your wings to aggressively scoop your target and fling them backwards 15 feet. It's all the targets in your path as well. All tiles touched by this attack turn into frenzy tiles. So yeah, while you're in the air using your flying, you can simply just kind of swoop down, hit your target. The path that your token creates is going to go ahead and create frenzy tiles from it. We're going to roll a 10d6 plus 7. 42. Decent chunk. Moving to bonus actions. The first is Wyvern Cry, another one we went over in the Raidal video, and it acts the exact same way. So we'll go ahead and move on to a newer one instead, Downward Crash. Downward Crash is a melee weapon attack with a +12 to hit, reach of 15 feet, and goes for 1 target. It's 5d10 plus 7 bludgeoning damage. Can only be used while flying. Crash down from the air onto your target, or behind them by spending 1 extra action. Landing behind your target feints the creature you're trying to hit and surprises them from behind with a guaranteed hit with no hit dice needed to be rolled if that creature fails a difficulty class 18 wisdom save or a difficulty class 15 perception check of the DM's choice. Very similar to our last move, our guy's gonna fly down, but you have 2 options. You can either dive them normally and just smack them, or if you want to try and guarantee the hit, if they have like a really insane AC that gets past that really hefty hit bonus it gets, you can fly behind them for 1 extra action. And now you're going to have to force your target to make either that perception check and succeed it, or that really, really strong save to succeed it. Otherwise, get a guaranteed hit on them. This is replicating its kind of downward swooping move, where it does have 2 versions. It either has the version where it completely swoops in front of you, or it purposely aims behind you to then smack you from behind. It's very deceptive. Reactions. Trail Eruption. Spend a reaction to blow up all frenzy tiles, creating a 2-tile radius explosion with each tile. Each creature hit by this explosion, besides the user, takes 2d20 necrotic damage and gain a stack of Frenzy Virus. So we want to keep track of those Frenzy Tiles because you can blow them up as a reaction. And they blow up in a 2-tile radius, so it's a pretty chunky area of explosion that will deal damage that we're going to simulate right now. So it's going to be /r 2d20, 32. Yeah, you would not want to get caught by like more than one of these explosions, because as you've seen, all of the actions go ahead and make them, and they make them in pretty like wide and numerous tiled areas, especially because this is a huge dragon. This thing is able to cover a lot of ground quickly, especially with its flying, so it can make a lot of danger zones pretty quickly, especially with its multi-attack. Now DMs, if you're feeling this is a little bit too difficult, don't be afraid to maybe introduce items or some viable environment options that can maybe help reduce the amount of tiles that are created. The other reaction it has is Demise Pounce. It's a melee weapon attack with a +12 to hit, reach of 130 feet, and goes for 1 target. It hits for 40/20 +7 bludgeoning damage. Use as a reaction whenever an enemy creature leaves your blind sight range. Immediately pounce to that target and deal damage to them. If the target fails a difficulty class 18 save, they are knocked prone. So if you notice, the Gore Magala has no eyes. It works purely off blind sight, which it has a very, very, very huge radius of 120 feet. If you leave that 120 foot range and it has a available reaction, it will just pounce right over to you and deal that damage. So 40/20 +7. Yeah, so you need to keep in mind not only where this thing's moving, but where you're moving, so you don't leave its radius by accident. DMs, you can probably, if you're using a VTT of some sort, maybe use some sort of radial glow on your tokens to go ahead and have a self note of where that radius is, so if a player steps out and you have a reaction, you can use it properly. We got legendary actions for a legendary creature. The monster can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only 1 legendary option can be used at a time, and only at the end of another creature's turn. The monster regains spent legendary actions at the start of its turn, starting with Tantrumous Stomp. It's a melee weapon attack with a +12 to hit, a reach of 2-tile radius of the Gore Magala in feet. All targets in range. Deals 48 +7 bludgeoning damage. Deals damage to all in range and knocks them back 25 feet. Fairly simple. So we moved our Gore Magala. Let's go over the damage it does. It's going to be a 4d8 +7 for 27 damage. And then it's going to knock everything around it within the 2-tile radius, 15 feet. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Other legendary action it has is Winged Claw. It's a melee weapon attack with a +12 to hit, reach of 15 feet, and a cone. All targets in range of that cone are going to get hit with a 4d10 +7 slashing damage. When a creature is hit by this attack, remove all Frenzy Virus stacks on them. For each one removed, deal 30 necrotic damage to that creature. So let's say that the knight here is going to get hit by that cone attack. At most, you're going to have 4, because if you hit 5, you have the virus already. So if it hits you and you have 4, you're going to take 30 times 4 damage from this thing. There's no roll involved, it's just straight up damage for each one it takes off, which means it can hurt a lot if you have just close enough to having too many. 120 damage, even on a character that's level 15, is a death sentence. So be very careful and manage your stacks so the DM can't use them against you in a smart way. And finally, we did make mythic actions and traits for this creature. When the Gore Magala reaches 0 HP, It revives itself with HP equal to its maximum hit points rounded up and gains access to the action below as a legendary action. This monster will also immediately use a bonus action, Wyvern Cry, for no bonus action cost. Escape combat and fly somewhere else, far away from the creatures it was fighting. DM's choice where it goes. It regains 2d10 hit points back for each hour it spends not in combat once it arrives at its chosen destination safely. The new legendary action it gets access to is going to cost 2 legendary actions, and it's Frenzy Shroud. This is a ranged spell attack that hits the entire room you're in, or just the entire area you're in if you're outside. It's going to hit everyone within that room for 3d10 plus 4 necrotic damage. It deals damage without rolling a hit dice, so it is guaranteed to hit, and it also executes on top of that the exact same thing that Wyvern Cry does, meaning you're taking bonus damage from Wyvern Cry as well. The room is now shrouded in darkness, and on the start of all opposing creatures' turns, they gain 1 stack of Frenzy Virus. This darkness lasts for full 4 rounds, and Frenzy Shroud cannot be used again until the darkness in the room dissipates. And that is it, guys. That is our Gore Magala from Monster Hunter Wilds converted into a terrifying CR15 D&D creature. The video on the left is the last episode we did, where we went and explored Dead by Daylight's hag and turned her into a dire hag for D&D 5th edition. Video on the right is YouTube's personal recommended for you. As usual, all the resources are located in the Google Doc in the description for free. Just go into the Pixels to D&D folder and look for the Gore Magala episode, and you'll find everything in there. Thank you, and see you in the next one.